my first time podcasting with a dog, and so we just adjusted. I appreciate y'all rocking with us. But I do think it's interesting, and if any areas of our government and the things that we provide for the people should remain apolitical, I think it's the military and healthcare.
Yeah, and I'm not blaming
Military and healthcare, I think.
I'm not blaming the military on the red or the blue, but it's just when you look at the state of and it's like okay, they're like look, it's getting ridiculous. Like some stuff is just like even with the Neo situation. You seen the Neo situation?
What's that? No.
Okay, Neo said basically, now he was on a podcast and he basically just voiced his opinion. He was like, I don't think little children should have the right to choose, you know what I'm saying, what they want to be right now. Like I don't think you should that's not and that was his opinion. Talking about his like the way he treat his children. And they basically tried to cancel him and his publicist went and wrote an apology and Neo came behind his publicist like, listen, I'm gonna tell you the
Basically, I said what I said.
basically, I said what I said. Bump what the like. I'm not talking about the fake apology the publisher wrote, because his publisher went ahead of him and wrote an apology, and he was like, "Nah, listen, that was the publicist basically." And he basically said, "I'm a 43-year-old heterosexual man," and I said what I said basically.
But but I think that's an example of how to the point. Like, can we not even have conviction, belief, and opinion anymore because of how it may be perceived?
Yeah.
Of like, I think here's my thing. It's just like if this is what you believe, if you believe this is okay, then fine, believe that. But if I believe the complete opposite, where is my fine? Believe that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the place our political parties have found themselves in. Like we've forgotten how to healthily disagree. You know, and so if somebody is saying, I believe that I'm gonna let my child choose what gender they want to be. If that's how you want to raise your children, then okay, you have every right to do that. But then where is that same respect when another parent says, you know what? As long as I have full custody and this is a full dependent of mine, then I'm not going for that. Once they become an adult and have full responsibility and legal and financial responsibility of themselves and they make these decisions, that's on them. But as far as my accountability for them, I stand against this. Then
Yeah.
where is that same support? I think is my issue with it. And the same thing we were talking about. I've said this in several conversations. I know I've said it with you guys off camera. But even when it comes down to some of the terminology around the LGBT, specifically the trans movement, when it comes to different pronouns and terminology, I with respect, I will call you whatever you want to be called.
Yeah.
I really will. Out of that same respect, I ask that you do not call me a cis woman.
That's real.
I ask that you just call me a woman. You know what I'm saying? So where is the mutual respect?
Mutual respect, yeah.
And I think that's my issue is that we've gone so far to the extremes that we've lost mutual respect. Like one has to be all right and the other has to be all wrong. I was just like, you know what? Well, then maybe we disagree on what's right and what's wrong. But where is the respect within the disagreement?
And I think that's where everybody's coming at.
That's where I personally stand with it. Like I will give you that same respect, but out of that spirit, where is the respect when I want it towards
I
my
don't like the term cis woman. Like that's weird. But you know what I'm saying? Like we already had the whole Just Hilarious thing, but it's like I think that's where the whole country is at. The whole country is like, listen, all right, yeah, the mutual, you know what I'm saying? The mutual respect. It gotta be like, okay, yeah, this your belief, this is mine. You know what I'm saying? Let's meet it like this is like you respect me, vice versa. I ain't gonna stay too long on that area, but that's like because we were talking about the politics, and I'm like, I don't like as a man who now 33 and I'm looking to when I'm 45 and I'm looking to when I'm 50, Lord's will, and I'm like, I don't like the direction that America is going. Like, okay, like this is it's getting a little weird. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, like no, it's almost like a takeover. You know what I'm saying? Get down and lay down type deal. It's like, nah. Like,
here's what I wonder, and this is just a completely rhetorical question because I don't have the answers, and I think we're still kind of living it out. I guess my question is, do extremes on one particular side automatically invoke extremes on the opposite side?
yeah.
You know, if is it in order just for, because life is always for scientifically, life is always trying to create balance. And so like if the right goes so far extreme in order to be heard, does the left have to go equally extreme on the other side? Because now because living in extremes I don't think is good for anybody, because that's not where the majority of people live, because life is too much of a gray area. You
Two
got to
wrongs don't
take
make it right.
right, and then usually the extremes are populated by a small minority of the population.
I'm,
It's a few it's a few people. Just like, for example, I really respect that governor for not coming down with this hard anti-trans law, because what he said, listen, I think I want to say he was conservative. I don't remember, but he was like, listen, I will not pass this anti-trans law. He said, and I'm doing it based on numbers. He said all of this is based on one student,
mm,
and so if it's just one student, then we can take this as a one-off.
yeah,
But to create a law that will affect the entire population of a state over one student, and I think to me that is the definition of the extremities of the
yeah,
extremes. Like, how far are they going? Because they usually don't represent the largest fraction of the population.
yeah.
And so, but I wonder if pushing one so far to a side automatically for the sake of balance pushes another thing I'm just a student of it right now. I'm just observing it, but while also trying to stay anchored in my own values.
It's a lot. On
And
some,
so because and for me being value driven,
yeah,
it does not guarantee my support for any particular party. I'm going to stay true to my values, and whatever the parties do, to me, decides on where my votes go,
and that's
where my support goes.
that's the smart
Because
way to do it.
my values are going to be steadfast,
That's the smart way.
and the people, the ideas of any political party may change with the times. And so if I stay true to my values, maybe because of who's representing a certain party, maybe my vote goes Democratic.
Yeah,
But I'm staying true to my values, and then maybe my vote may go Republican, and that's just how I choose. To me, that is the essence of being independent.
I mean that's smart, because like it's government is almost cult like. You know what I'm saying? It's like
getting there.
it's almost like
At the very least,
almost-
the extremes of it are.
it's almost cult like.
And now the extremes, which is a very small relative percentage of the population, it's such a loud minority of
Yeah.
people, and it's dominating media cycles, and it's dominating headlines, but it's not indicative of the largest fraction of the voting populace.
That's true, because the media, like, I'm gonna go on some funny job.
Laugh.
There's so much going on in America and in the world that
Yeah.
the government actually announced that we have aliens, and nobody cared. they made it like you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we have proof aliens real. No reaction. Nobody listen. We got inflation going up, rent at an all-time high. If you got
Talk about that.
if you got children, like, bro, you got childcare, and then the one time you admit it's aliens and nobody like,
I'm
bro.
looking at a comment. Raheem Pearson said, "I can only be independent." I completely get you. I appreciate that, but I really think if we really got to the meat and potatoes of how individuals think, you would find more people identify as independent as opposed to just like party loyal. Because the
they're
party is
honest.
defined by the people who populate it, and so it's subject to change with the people we vote in and out.
But that's
So,
the
appreciate
right
that comment.
That's the right way to be. You know what I'm saying? But like I had to come up out of that. I'm one of the
But
people
here's the thing I
who
think.
came up out of that mindset. I'm one of the people who came up out of that mindset.
Here's why I think
only
it's
blue.
important. Here's why I think it's important. Is because if everybody would really get an independent stance on their politics, on how they vote, it would force the parties and the people in power, regardless of party, it would force them to always be working for the people. And that's the question I've been asking for probably the past year. I was like, all these people that took all these oaths, how is this for the people? Like, if you're operating out of grievance, if you're operating out of privilege, if you're operating because you want special treatment for a certain thing, how is this for the people? And so if the people say, listen, I could go Democrat or Republican depending on what you stand for, but this is what
Yeah.
I stand for.
Yeah.
It could keep the parties working, the people in power working for the people.
At
But
bay.
if you can get people to buy into party loyalism,
Yeah.
then you can kind of do whatever you want.
You can control the masses.
If we put that party banner over it, we can get away with murder, because we've got people bought into this brand and this headline, whether it's Democrat or Republican. But if people can stay independently voting based on what their values are, to be like, well, who's speaking the language of my values?
Yeah.
And my vote could go either way. Depending on that, it would keep the people in power and tuned in what the needs and the opinions and the desires of the people are, and it would keep the people in power working for the people. That is my belief.
And that's a good belief. I mean, I think you should be able to think. You should think. Like thinking. We have the capability to think. Like I don't have to vote blue because I'm black. You know what I'm saying? Like I vote, and
I'm not automatically like evil or anti-black if I vote Republican.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
You know, and so, but again, it's not about. But that's for people who bought into the party loyalism.
And that's what.
If you do that, that can be dangerous, because those people in power could be like, they're going to follow me no matter what I do. And so they start to get a little lax with what they do, and it gets less and less for the people and more for the interests of a small, loud minority.
It get disrespectful sometimes on both ends, because they're going to cater. On both ends, they're going to do what you have been known to like. Like I'm gonna make these rounds. I'm gonna say these things. I'm gonna make these promises.
Right.
I'm gonna cater to your. I'm gonna cater to what I think. And some of that is insulting. That's like we had a good example of this is we had a coworker, and he was one of our managers at one of my jobs, and I guess to get in good with the black folks, like he brought the most, he brought.
I'm already.
What his version of a peace offering was, it was like he literally bought some watermelon and chicken, and we looking like. You feel what I'm saying? And a lot of times that's what these parties are doing. Like, and on both sides, like I'm gonna do what I think you gonna respond to. What I think you gonna like. Don't black.
To be fair,
I do like watermelon.
Somebody
chicken.
showed up with watermelon chicken. I'm gonna partake.
And we ate.
But also, I am aware of the stereotype.
That's what I'm saying.
And I still might be, as I'm enjoying this delicious chicken and watermelon, I might be enjoying it in offense.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that was my answer to the question. That was my answer to the question. I was like, he was like, y'all want some watermelon chicken? I was like, with a sour look, we want some watermelon and chicken. You feel what I'm saying? Like, give me a piece.
And so now I'm not questioning the actual manifestation of what has appeared, because I'm all for some watermelon and chicken. But I am questioning your intention and your view of me.
Like, what you doing? Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
But I ain't gonna lie.
It was nice. It was nice.
In order for a stereotype to exist, it has to be rooted in some truth.
You know,
I like watermelon and I like chicken. But also, it's some white folks out here that love a little watermelon and chicken.
But it was the point. I was like, we want some watermelon and chicken. You feel what I'm saying? Like, why are you doing this? But that's what I feel like. But
funny.
But that's just like I got a lot of opinions, and it's just like I'm usually quiet about my political, but it's just like it's so much going on as a man, as a parent especially, because like I really look to the future for my children.
Do you think? Because I've had this thought within myself too, because I've kind of gone back and forth with the importance and significance and impact of my personal political involvement at certain levels. That's how I'll put it. But do you? My ideas on that are shifting as I pray and consult the Lord. I'm like, well, if I think that all of my life is purposeful, then it's on purpose that I was born in the skin I was born into, in the gender I was born into, in the country and nationality and citizenship I was born into. All of that is purposeful, and so he's evolving my perspective on that. But do you think that a lot of what's going on politically is forcing people to engage in a different way in the government that we're subject to? Mm-hmm. And I do think that particular thing may be a good thing, because for so long we really didn't have much idea on how we were being governed, because our day-to-day lives were okay-ish. Mm-hmm. But now things are becoming so so alarming that it's like it's not leaving us much choice than to engage with our politics in a different way, even on the local levels, which I think there was like again, you can look at the statistics on the involvement in presidential elections versus the involvement of local and state elections.
Yeah.
And you're seeing a rise in that. But like to me, a great case study is Florida, and it's just like at this point, I don't see if I were a resident of Florida, I don't see how I couldn't vote being a black woman because of the governmental and legislative decisions that have been made on how we teach black history and on women's reproductive rights. So you know what I'm saying? So it's been an interesting shift. And I just wonder.
It's
like,
about the
how people
information.
see
Like
it.
now we got more information.
Like, and we really and the beauty and the privilege of living in a democracy is that we have a say so in how we are governed.
Yeah.
But I think that for so long we maybe took for granted and we didn't know the details of how we've been. I remember specifically after Donald Trump won the presidency that he won, that one term that he did win. I remember having to go to some, full-grown adults that I respect very much, and having to explain to them how the electoral college really works. They were like, well, if Hillary got more votes, why is Donald Trump still the president?
The electoral
But
college,
but
yeah.
it really was eye-opening that we don't really have a full working understanding of the way that we are governed. And while this is a very tumultuous and unprecedented time for our nation governmentally, if it is making us more aware of our role in democracy in order for it to persevere, I don't think that particular thing is a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad thing. I don't think, but I mean, you.
But it may be, but it's a little tough to live through.
No, it is
A little rocky right now.
It is like especially like listen, as a millennial, we done gone through a lot of major world events, from the Twin Towers to COVID to the 2008 recession. You feel what I'm saying? Like we done went through a lot of
Yeah.
shit. Now they saying we got aliens and we like, fam, you can
And
keep
we just
that.
like, and
can
we
keep-
ain't phased.
we ain't want that,
Keep
but-
your little aliens.
I like what you was talking. Like, I mean, being that the name of the episode is called Accountable Actions.
But isn't it like, so the one more thing, like we were talking like on off camera, for millennials, I think it's really interesting that it is a very real possibility that we live in a time where we have seen in real time where someone like former President Donald Trump could be remembered as a mob boss and a cult leader, whereas somebody like Snoop Dogg could be remembered as a peace advocate and a humanitarian. I think it's amazing that we have lived through that evolution, and we don't fully know where it will land.
Uncle Snoop.
And so, shout out to Uncle Snoop. I've been listen since Ain't Nothing But a G Thing to Martha Stewart, and y'all might judge me, but he also got like Death Row Vapes. Y'all might judge me for that, but I don't care. But
Uncle Snoop.
I rock with Snoop, but he is such an if you listen to any recent interviews over the past several years, he's such an advocate for peace. And when you think about where his career started and the things he was saying and beating murder charges and things like that, I just think it's just interesting to see some of these white collar crimes being handled the way they're being handled, and some of these things that we were taught to see as criminal, just the existence of black people, where it's just like maybe what you call criminal, some people may just call survival.
Yeah. I mean, truthfully, and that's basically what's getting. I mean, because the name of the podcast is called Accountable Actions, and this is where I was just looking at, and it's not like, okay, being accountable can mean a bunch of things. I mean, it only means one thing, like being accountable for your actions, okay, whatever. But what I'm talking about, like you said, you was born, and I guess it kind of triggered me as a man, and it was like, we got these things in America as African Americans. Systemic racism, mass incarcerations, all these facts, you know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking from in the trenches. Like, I'm living this. This is my reality every day I wake up and face the world. I'm probably right at middle class, at black man. I got dreadlocks. I stay in the deep south, so I'm speaking to you from the battlefield. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but it was like what I mean by being accountable. Black women, black men. Uh, period. It's like yes, we have all these things. We have systemic racism, and it triggered me because a politician, I can't think of his name. A politician was at the Breakfast Club, and he was making the point. Uh, he was making one specific point. Like one of the major dents in African American community is the absence of the black father, which I agree with. But and he was trying to make that point, and Charlemagne and his co-hosts they were basically like, oh yeah, we hear that, but what about this and what about that? Which is and everything they're saying is true. But it was like I got an eye opener because if we're not careful, we can like I heard the Holy Spirit say a thought came in my head so quick. Like yes, you have the you have the you still are required to succeed. You still are required to be successful in spite of. Like we don't fail because of this. We succeed in spite of everything that's against us. You feel what I'm saying? It's like it's somebody in the hood right now who is taking their life, like taking like basically like using these things, okay, I can't get ahead, I can't get this because of that, because of this, and using that as an excuse not to succeed in whatever it is that they meant. Because success to me is finishing your assignment, living your purpose. But
Yeah.
but at the same time, like I don't got the right to like I have to be accountable. Like I can't use that as a reason not to. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a coward move. I think we got men who don't be fathers, like all kind of situations. I can only speak from a man, but it irritates me because I don't care what happens. Like if I lose everything today, if my house burned down and I lose everything today, yes, this is a fact. This is true, and everybody would agree with me. But the truth is, I have no excuse not to shake back and get put my family back in the house, put my family back in the car, make sure my kids good. You know what I'm saying? I can't say, "Oh, my house burned down. I can't do this." I got no excuse. You know what I'm saying? Like what I'm required to succeed in spite of whatever in front of me. Like we got to like I don't want us to be. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to. I don't want to put our people, our men, in a position where like, yeah, these things you can't see because of these things. No, you are supposed to succeed in spite of these
So
things.
Amos Worrell put a great comment. I think he said accountability mirrors results. And
That's facts.
so
That's
what
facts.
what
That's
I
facts.
what I hear you saying, I don't think I'm gonna end it on a question, but it's you know what, it could be true that the odds are stacked against you, but it doesn't mean that what you're responsible for changes.
That's a fact. And I'm
And so
passionate about
then
that.
my question to you as a black man in
Yeah.
the deep south
In the deep
with
south, son.
dreads,
In the deep
with darker
south.
skin.
I'm black, son.
So my question is where where is the biggest like tension point? Is it come like okay, so these are some very real odds that are stacked against
And
me.
they real as
But
can be.
this is also very truly my responsibility. So do you think uh men have trouble asking for help in between that?
Ooh.
It's just like okay, like no, police brutality is real.
Oh, that's real.
Systemic racism is real.
That's real.
All this is real. The way you're perceived, if you had just because you have dreads,
Oh, that's real.
is real.
It's a real fact.
Like you're perceived as not knowing as much as you know because you have an accent because you're from the South.
And that's one of my biggest pet peeves.
And
right there.
all this is stacked against you. But also, you got a wife and kids and a purpose and responsibility and a job. And that is still very, no matter what's stacked against you, that's your responsibility. Do you think in between those truths that men struggle with asking for help?
I can't. Like, I'm gonna speak on from my perspective. I can't speak for all men, but what I will do, and like God hit it with me. Like this from a believer standpoint. Then I'm gonna go into the man from a believer standpoint. God was like, I eliminate every excuse. Me plus anything is success. So
Yes.
so because you have me, I will not accept. You know what I'm saying?
Your
That you,
excuses.
I'm not gonna skip like cause and it hit me personally as cause I done been in position as a father where like bruh, listen, I done been like in financial positions where it's like it's hard. You know what I'm saying? And you really want to lean into that excuse because it's true. Like I really did lose my job. You feel what I'm saying? Like I really did. You know what I'm saying? Something really bad did happen. But the fact of the matter is, at this very moment, my kids don't have nowhere to stay, and it is my responsibility, no matter what is in front of me. And I done been in them situations, and it's the worst feeling in the world. But no matter what, my kids still gotta eat, and there ain't no excuse for me not to get it. Now I don't face the facts. You know what I'm saying? Like all that is real. You know what I'm saying? We in the deep south. It may be even a little realer here. You know what I'm saying? But it's all that. I'm not. I would never excuse. I would never say that's not a resist. But don't keep letting our young men lean on that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, nah, we were quiet because I'm not about to be sis because it irritated me because you know what I'm saying? A lot of people that defend it are successful black people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're not a monopoly. Like anybody can do what you did. You know, not
Let
everybody
me
gonna have.
ask you this from a man's, especially a black man's perspective. Can you readily, somebody said, I'm sorry, to go back what we're talking about. Somebody said they're not feeling that watermelon and chicken, but he tried it.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
They're
but
not feeling that.
he tried. You know what I'm saying? But
But okay, so
chicken
but I
was
just want to
good.
acknowledge that comment.
Chicken was good. I ain't gonna flex.
But also the gesture, the actual food is great, but the gesture is a little questionable. I agree with that. But my question to you is, can you readily tell when a black man is being coddled?
Yeah,
What
you
does that
can.
look like to you?
Not taking accountability. Like, okay,
Is
promise
like everything that's wrong is everybody else's
everybody
fault?
else, and then like, okay, like I'm accountable to this podcast. You're accountable to your book. But the thing is, like, some people, I'm gonna just cut to the point. Accountability. Okay, you lost your job. Why you lost your job? Man, they don't like, man. You know how they be doing black people out there. But the reality is, you called in too many times. You feel what I'm saying? And now that you chose your comfort over your family, now they got to struggle. That's the truth. You know what I'm saying? That's what we don't. That's what I don't like. No, yeah, something like trust me. I done been on jobs where I done got caught. Like this is me speaking from my own. Like I done had to say, yo, you the reason that you lost that job because you were being lazy. You know what I'm saying? I done had to tell that to myself. You know what I'm saying? And I done had to watch my family struggle for a little while. Because I'm not going to let it happen for long, but I done had to watch my family struggle from my bad decision. I won't let that happen again. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But it's like, you can tell when somebody's been like, yeah, because everybody else's fault. And it's not like, if it's never your fault, something's wrong. And it's like we gotta be able to be accountable.
When
You
did
know
we
what I'm saying?
lose self awareness?
Uh,
Is that we just like did social media give us too many people that will agree
I think that's what it is.
with our excuse?
Yeah.
And we got like it's just cause I see it in work to where it's just like, okay, you can go online and find a bunch of people who agree with the excuse you're giving me, but also they're not responsible for showing up for your work shift.
Yeah.
And because this is your attendance record, I'm sorry we can't keep you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think people like just because social media knows how to amplify a voice that you can easily find an echo chamber, that may not serve you in your personal life.
Yeah.
Like these people who agree with you and like and give all these comments online that boost you up to do whatever, they not the ones having to pay your bills.
Yeah. I mean,
They not the ones building your professional reputation. You know what I'm saying? And so I think we're getting so lost in wanting to be confirmed and affirmed in our feelings that we're losing a sense of accountability to ourselves.
and even accountability to your dream, to your purpose.
Yes.
It's like it's gonna take it takes what it takes, and
It takes what it takes.
like one of my mentors, like on the real, like I'm gonna say what the people on the other end of your excuse want. Nobody wants to hear your excuse, no matter what it is. Now, if something really happened, like even if it's something that's legitimate, yeah, okay, like okay, you can't go because your dog got sick, you got to take him to the vet. That's fine. I totally understand that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like nobody cares about your excuse. They just care if you follow through or you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the truth of the matter, nobody cares why you couldn't come.
No, and here's the thing. I'm not, essentially nobody cares, but even when they do care, you have to build that trust, because here's the thing. Let's say you are unreliable most of the time for frivolous reasons. When you have a real legitimate reason,
They understand.
nobody's going to
Yeah.
take it as seriously as you want them to take it, because it's going to get lost in the fact that this is just how you behave anyway. Even if this big thing didn't really happen, this is still your track record of behavior.
Yeah.
And so, but if you kind of go hard and build a good reputation for yourself, there is more grace for when something goes wrong. And I argue that you really do need to protect, you need to move and build a reputation that will perfect, or not perfect, but protect those moments when life happens, because life will inevitably happen. But if something happens like, oh my goodness, I have a flat tire, I'm going to be a couple hours late, you know, people have more grace for that when you have a reputation of being on time.
Yeah.
But if you have a reputation for I'm late just because, and now you have a legitimate excuse, people gonna rope that legitimate excuse in with every other time you were late.
That's real.
And so you do have to guard what may happen by what you do with what you do now.
And yeah, I mean that's facts. And I'm just coming. I guess I'm getting older, and I'm realizing that when I get 46, regardless of what excuse I tell myself, like my life is gonna reflect my decision. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
it.
And it's like my life is gonna reflect my accountability. And it's like I'm getting to
Yeah.
the age like when I'm going around 50, because now I'm thinking about, okay, I got literally about 10 years till I'm 45, which is still young, but 45 is close to 50, and I'm thinking about life at that age. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I'm basically I'm going to be the fruit of my decisions now. Like,
Yes.
if I can't take accountability, if I can't, then
Different
I'm
with
really
just like day to day life. Look, if people took that adopted that mindset, what you just said, just like, my current life is the reflection of the decisions I made up until this point.
and sometimes that's hard to say.
My current life is a reflection, is a mirror image of the decisions that I have made up until this point. Give or take some life things that I couldn't control, but I still decided how I responded to them.
Yeah.
Somebody, let's read a comment. Same as World put, with social media, we want to be accepted by so many, and that alone increases risk as it relates to real life personal aspects. It's so easy to be confirmed on social media now. It's so easy to be confirmed online, period.
Yeah.
If you want to be agreed with, there is something out
Somebody
there,
ought to agree with
somebody,
you.
some article, something that will make you feel confirmed and right in whatever your opinion is. But those sources are not accountable for your individual life.
Yeah, and it's like, man,
And that's the part you got to rise up and like, okay, yeah, you got 100 likes on this post, inventing this excuse, and you got articles there, but your children still ain't eating tonight because you made poor decisions with your money. So how are you gonna answer that?
you gotta.
At some point,
Yes, you gotta.
you got to stand up and be accountable for your own life and the things that only you are responsible for at the level that you are.
Yeah, yeah, and it ain't
Who is more responsible for your children than you?
nobody. You know what I'm saying?
In this earth, in this human
In
experience,
this earth, nobody.
who is more responsible? And now you may make a poor decision that negatively affects your children, and you may put it on social media, and you may frame it and word it a certain way and get all kind of likes and all kind of support. But at the end of the day, whoever's liking and supporting you, are they responsible for your children?
And that's true.
And I think if people could look, are they responsible for your job, for your income, for your well-being, for your state of life, for your mental health?
and
At some point, you got to take some personal, singularly personal accountability for what you're seeing in your life. Like whatever you're seeing right now, you could probably trace it back to a decision that you made.
Yeah.
And you were the sole authority on that
No,
decision.
that's real, and we come from people who like the people like those who had came before us. You know what I'm saying? From the Rosa Parks to the Martin Luther Kings to the Malcolm X's, people that had to overcome so much whatever was placed in front of them. Like great people. We come from this. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I just don't want male, woman or man to to limit your life because you think systemic racism will only let you go so far. No, that I will that 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 will never be the case. You know what I'm saying? But if we allow that to be an excuse, like allow that to justify why you're not taking care of your children right now. No, no, like there is no excuse. You know, like and that's just where I'm at. It's just like God, like listen, you have me. Like okay, for those who don't believe in God, okay, I might even give you a pass because I don't think it's possible without him.
I
But
really don't know how you're
but
making it,
but
but that's just me.
but I
Because
mean,
I'm so very dependent
yeah,
on
because
him. I don't
I am
understand how
dependent.
anybody's making it without
But
him.
you
But
can
that's
be.
my dependency and my belief.
But even without believing in God, you can still be rich. You might not have peace
You
with the rich,
can.
but you can still handle your business. You know what I'm saying? But it's like even at that, I just want because at the end of the day, it's like family. Like, I don't know why that irked me, but it was just like we're giving. I saw them in that moment in the interview giving people room to like eliminating accountability.
Yeah.
And what they were saying was true. You know what I'm saying? Cause like we black. Okay, let's just cut to the case.
We black, y'all. Did y'all know that? We're black.
Ain't nothing new about our struggle in America. Okay, and just nothing new about it. Like, but that can never. I'm never.
We still learning some of the old.
It's a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of mindsets toward African Americans. It's a lot of you know what I'm saying. Whatever. But I don't care, man. Like, listen, we gonna succeed. We required to success, regardless of what place in front of us. It do not matter. You can name anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can name
From
anything.
a faith perspective, we are where faith meets culture. If you can believe that maybe your like I said, your racial makeup, all those things are part of your assignment, and but God's word and His promises towards you transcend that,
Yeah.
then then if you believe that, then systemic racism, as powerful as it may be, is still not enough to override God's purpose and plans for you in life.
Never, ever.
Like then you start to see is like, you know what, my race, my nationality, my gender, my physical geographical location, all of it is part of my assignment because I really didn't have much control or say so in any of it. So I accepted it as part of my assignment and God's sovereignty. And if I thought that systemic racism or my race was the ultimate identifier and key to the success of my life, then I would feel like I was really stifled in this country. But if I believe that the word of God prevails in my life, then even this big monster of a thing, this system, is not enough to override and negate God's promises and His words toward me. So I will break through and overcome it. But
you know what I'm saying?
But that's everybody's personal walk and purpose and
no, that's powerful.
assignment. But you choose to believe it. It is as powerful as your choice to believe it.
And that's basically that's basically where the road meet the rubber at. That's basically what I want to talk about there. I mean, we can go on and on. I'm not gonna keep going because like we already done hit an hour on them boys, but it's like it's just like
I think you blame the Alabama brawl for that hour.
yeah, the Alabama brawl that took a good.
Blame the folding chairs.
The folding, hey, we gonna get a folding chair and put it in the studio.
I got 6 in the garage.
We gonna, hey, that's
we're gonna take pictures at the end holding that.
Hey, that's gonna be the black. That's gonna be the black Carter arms.
The Carter arms is the hat toss.
They gonna have a flag.
We already did the hat toss.
We gonna get a flag with a folding chair on it
and a hat.
Yeah, but listen, I mean, as far as that,
black people gonna find the laughs and the humor. Believe that.
We gonna have a flag with the folding chair in the middle, with Unc swinging that thing.
Oh.
Yeah, but I mean that's basically that's what I want to talk about. Like, yeah. I mean, you got any final thoughts on accountability you want to leave the people with?
Just really get with God about who you are and what you were created to do and where your purpose. Was that New Boston Tea Party? And Boston Sweet Tea Party, Boston Southern Sweet Tea Party. You really like. I feel like to me, I grew in my own personal accountability when I really submitted my whole purpose for being to God. Like, God, why do I exist? And then some things that felt like oppressions against me became more purposeful towards that thing. And now it was easier for me to move into how am I going to be accountable to my assignment through this thing as opposed to seeing it as a barrier
Yeah.
to getting it done. So that's just that. It's just I really think being anchored in for me in God, but also who am I? Once I understand really who I am, then I know better why I'm equipped for whatever assignments or whatever seasons or whatever places I found myself in. I'm like, I really am the woman for this. I really am the person for this because I have such a. If I'm still trying to figure out who I am, I may be figuring out why I'm in the season I'm in.
Yeah.
But when I find myself in certain seasons, facing certain things, and I have a really strong sense of who I am according to my creator, then certain things that used to be like, dang, why I see more clearly. Yep. I remember I put on Facebook not long ago, maybe earlier this week, I said, where I once saw insult, I now see assignment.
I remember that. Yeah.
And that's really very true. Like especially like in my career to where I used to get offended when people were like, I need you to do this. I'm like, get somebody else to do it. But then my mom had to shift and she was like, Audrey, they keep picking, and I used to keep getting insulted. I'm like, why do y'all keep giving me these crap assignments? Why do y'all keep giving me this stuff that nobody else want to do? And my mom had to really kind of shift my perspective and say, you're the only one who knows how to handle this.
Yeah.
You're the only one who knows how to take what it is and make it into what it could be. And so then I used to be so insulted, but now I see it as a compliment. And so it went from compliment to now, like, no, I am assigned and equipped and I am built for these things. And so I remember walking into a certain assignment and where I used to be, I remember a time where I used to be fully insulted. I went in, I was like, this is a whole mess. Yay. Because I knew that I was equipped for it and I was the person for it. But it was literally the same type of assignment that I was once presented with years ago and saw it as an insult to who I was. Now I see it as proof of who I am.
Yeah.
Because if this is the problem, then this is who you need to fix it.
I feel you.
And so that's the power of the perspective. And really nothing about the assignments really changed, but my view of myself changed. And my accountability, like, instead of seeing these things as excuses for why I can't be excellent in this environment, it's just like, okay, if this is true about me, then why is it purposeful? Wow, it's tailor-made to this assignment that I used to see as an insult.
Yeah.
And so, but again, if you don't take accountability over some things, you'll always find an excuse. Here's the thing, if you want to find an excuse, you'll find one.
It's there.
But if you want to find a way through, I argue that you'll find that as well.
You'll find that exactly.
You'll find it as well.
Exactly.
And you'll feel a greater sense of reward and self-confidence.
Yeah.
In persevering and overcoming what for so many people are literally stopped and held hostage at that point of life because they decided to surrender to an excuse instead of like, you know what, this is a valid argument, but it's not enough to stop me. And if you can get to that point, then no good thing will be withheld from you. It is a mindset shift. And sometimes the only thing that will change in a situation is your mind around it.
It's you.
If you're waiting for a situation to change, it may not. So then, if you still believe that it could be better, then then maybe it's your perspective and what you have to see.
That was just a Facebook post. I said God didn't change the situation. He changed you in the situation.
And there you go.
I mean, that's basically like all I gotta say. Just accountability. Like when I say I can do all things through Christ, who strengthens me, I believe that. And I just don't think I don't believe that with God anything is impossible.
Yeah.
God, all things are possible, and it's just like
and God is really just like waiting for people to just take him up on his word. I believe that. He's just like, if I could just get some people to believe me, I could do some crazy things. I could do some amazing stuff. I could prove that my word is true if I could just get some people to believe it. And so I remember how kind of certain like crazy I started to look to people when I just choose that I believe God.
Yeah.
And it could look crazy until his word is made manifest.
But
it's like until you like I'm living in what God said, it may look crazy until the manifestation of it comes.
You gotta stand.
But it starts with believing it, even if you're the only one who believes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, go get yours, man. That's all I gotta say.
A couple of just like final thoughts globally. Definitely the prayers and my heart goes out to those people who are in Maui, Hawaii,
Oh yeah, definitely
right
Maui.
now. That is a disastrous,
Maui.
it really almost apocalyptic situation.
That was crazy.
Our president Joe Biden will be visiting, I think, on Monday. And I'm just praying for healing for that part of the world, that part of our nation, the people who have lost so much, those people who will just have to really rebuild their whole lives from scratch. Um, I care so much about just humanity, and it's just right now on record as the deadliest wildfire in our nation's
No,
history.
that's a
It
horrible
is
situation.
it's horrible, and
That's
I
a
don't
horrible
know that
situation.
many people. I don't know how many people are aware of it. If I weren't actively watching the news, it hasn't really been present in any other part of my life. So if you're not watching, you just may not know. But it's a horrible, devastating, just people will not be the same after this. It's very, as far as the post-traumatic effects, very comparable to what 9/11 was to people.
That was horrible.
But it's awful. Um, but so it's just like just praying for those people who are having to lead through the situation, for the rescue teams that are still looking for those people who have already lost so much, as far as businesses and livelihoods and homes. It's such a tragic and heartbreaking situation. Milo, calm down. Milo, I mean, Harmony is good. Um, you see,
No.
listen, my dog. Shout out to my dog. Shout out to Milo. We still found each other, filling each other out, learning each other's boundaries. But yeah, so that I didn't want to get too much into it, but we do live in Georgia, and all eyes on Georgia because of that fourth indictment that dropped on former President
What
Donald
happened?
Trump.
All eyes on
It-
Georgia.
uh, well, that okay. You remember that same DA that was prosecuting Young
I
Thug
seen
and all that
that.
different.
I seen that.
She's the one
I
who
seen that.
was who was going
Listen, man, Trump got
at Trump and all of his allies
Trump got so many
under
cases.
that same RICO statute.
I,
And it's
I,
just so Georgia, right? I feel like politically, it's been all eyes on Georgia for a lot of these cycles, as far as political cycles, and so it's just an interesting time to be a Georgian. Georgia, not just on our mind, it's on a lot of people's
it's
mind.
always interesting to be a Georgian.
And Georgia's legal system is set up so in such an interesting way, where there's a lot of transparency, where a lot of things like he gonna go into the jailhouse and get like booked and fingerprinted and mugshotted. There will be cameras in the courtroom,
Yeah.
so we won't just get these like little court sketches. It's gonna be very interesting to see how this plays out. But you know, Georgians, we out here, we still resilient. It is what it is.
Well, definitely prayers
But I just pray
to
for the
Maui.
safety for the safety for the people who are doing their duty as public servants